No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For Total Pest Control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Eric Gaylord is back, but where has he been?
I read on the internet that guy was abducted by aliens.
Rated
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to hour one of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping your weekend was an absolutely fabulous one. If not, like we like to say each and every Monday, right about this time of the day, good Lord willing, you'll still be here when the next one rolls our way, and you will have the opportunity to try it all over again. We start today's show talking about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and how it has affected every municipality in our state, if not pretty much the nation. But of particular interest are the smaller cities in our great state. We start today's show talking with the mayor of one such great city, the great city of Baker here in South Louisiana, and the distinguished Mayor Darnell Waits joins us to start today's show. Mayor, good morning, and how are you, my friend?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing well, and I hope your family is doing well also.
We are all doing well. Thank you, Mayor. So how has this COVID-19 pandemic affected the city of Baker?
Well, it is a scary thing when you look at it. The pandemic itself has affected the whole country, but by far, after we started to look at the data, Clarence, and we realized that African Americans were 70% of the people that were getting sick, and I realized that my city was about 80%. We had to step it up, and so it has affected us tremendously, how we do business and how we get the information out to our people to try to protect them as best we can.
You found yourself in a little bit of a different role, speaking of getting the information out. Fortunately, you had a TV station that availed itself to your efforts, and you were able to disseminate that information in a much-needed fashion, correct?
Correct, yeah. We use the station. We just really thank them for all they do for us. That's the station that does our Baker Forward show.
Right.
And we were able to do updates and let people know what was going on. And we added that to, whatever we were using, the social media, everything else, so people can understand where we were going and what they needed to do.
Now, you have a pretty sizable elderly population in the city of Baker. How have they responded, Mayor?
Yes, they've been really well. They have followed the guidelines very well. the ones that we've talked to. You know, my chief, he feeds a lot of them, and and when you see them out, they have on masks, and so they're doing pretty well, and I'm so proud of them, because they are doing very, very well.
Now, what about the rest of the population, the younger ones in particular? How have they responded, Mayor Waits?
Well, for the younger people, it's really actually hard for those guys and girls, we can see that some are following, some are just not really believing it yet, but for the most part, a lot of the citizens are following the mitigation procedures that we have, and we're just going to keep putting the information out and letting them know how important it is to continue to do that.
What about Baker's city government? How are you functioning at this juncture?
Well, in the beginning, my main goal was protect city government because about 30 to 40% of the people that work for me live in Baker. So, that means that they visit families, and if families start to get sick, that could take down my whole government. We sent them home. And what we did is that we had a lot of people working from home, or they were working different shifts to keep them separated, basically. And then the mayor's office stayed open. It was only 2 or 3 people around me. And so we can make sure that city government stayed healthy, and that's what we're doing. We're planning to bring them back in the next couple of weeks. Since we have masks now, we're going to be wearing masks, so they're still going to be separated, and I'm still not going to open up my city building as of yet because I'm really not sure that we're ready for that. So we'll still be doing business through drive-thrus and over the phone.
The Louisiana legislative session gets back in gear today. What do you hope that the Louisiana legislature is aware of as far as smaller cities like the city of Baker and the impact of this pandemic on them?
That everybody is different. Every city, every municipality has something different going on. And so you can't create and you can't talk about laws and anything that you're going to do without making sure that it's fluid, that it moves around. You can't make one rule for one city, because everybody is different and their situation is different, especially the economy part of it. So you have to look at that, and discussion has to be fluid. It has to open up for everybody to be able to make decisions about what they need to do.
One of the things that I've always admired about you, Mayor, is your intricate involvement with the citizens there in Baker. I mean, I don't think there are many that you don't know by name and that you've interacted with at some point during your administration. What are you hearing from the citizens of the great city of Baker as far as how ready they are to go back to work and try and resume some sense of normalcy?
Well, it just depends on who you talk to, Clarence. People are ready to get back, but what I'm hearing people saying is that we should be cautious about how fast we move and the things we do when we move forward. I think by the most part, the people in Baker are very patient. Remember, we're very resilient. This is not our first rodeo. It's something different. But we tend to come together when things happen like this, and they tend to pay attention to leadership and pay attention to the information. So I think what they're doing is that they're just going with the flow, and they're following leadership. They may, they may be a little restless now, but I think they really just want to be safe.
You mentioned seconds ago that this is not Baker's first rodeo. If we go back a few years to the flood of 2016 and look now at this pandemic, did Darnell Waits have an idea of what he was getting himself in for when he decided to run for this position?
No idea. I talk to God about that all the time, and it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those deals where everything is coming at once. But I was looking at a tape we had with the school system put out. The high school, the class of 2020 started with the flood. They ended with the pandemic, and so all it has done though is made me stronger. It has made me aware of the struggle, and it has showed me that the only person I can lean on is God, and man, my relationship with God is so close now, and we're just going to move forward, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to move forward and hope for the best.
What can the citizens of the great city of Baker and those here in East Baton Rouge Parish do, Mayor, to make your job easier and help return things to normal as soon as possible?
Stay home. They can stay home, and until the governor lifts that, they need to stay home. And we need to wear masks. The mask is not going to give you 100% protection, but it will give you a layer of protection that you don't have. We need to practice social distancing, and we need to realize that this thing is not over. Listen to your leadership. You listen to the leadership. We're all in sync. We're all in sync with what the governor is doing. I'm in sync with what Mayor Broome is doing, and we need to make sure that you guys listen, because we're looking at the data, and that's how we're making decisions.
What about your workforce for the city of Baker? How have they been impacted? Are you at full strength, or like so many other municipalities, you have your individuals that were affected by COVID-19?
We have a few individuals that are affected by COVID-19, but until we start testing, which we just started doing, we will have started our testing, increased testing. Once that happens, the numbers will spike. Right now, this morning, we're at 118 cases, but my workforce is doing well. Man, my hat's off to my fire department and my police department, because they're on the front lines, and those guys are working. They're working hard. But right now, thanks to God that, we don't have a whole lot of people that's sick. We have people that were around people that's sick, and they're on quarantine. So I'm not really doing too bad. We're operating probably at about 70%, but we'll make it through that, and then we'll see what happens in the future.
How hopeful are you, Mayor, that your business community in the great city of Baker will be able to sustain itself until things return to normal?
Well, we talk to them every week. We have a call with them and the pastors every week, and we come together. I think they're doing really, really well. We have these young people that is running the city, the grocery stores. It's amazing. You got people making $12 an hour, and they're keeping the city running. These young kids, and they're putting their lives out there for us, and they're doing really well. And they adapt really well. The big stores like Walmart and Shoppers Value, McDonald's, they've been really good, and we've been able to provide what we need to provide for the city. So I know we got some rough times, but if we can stay together and keep talking to each other, I think we can make it through it.
Mayor Darnell Waits for the great city of Baker, thank you so much for the time, my friend, and God bless you and yours. Stay safe, Mayor.
You too. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Mayor Darnell Waits from the great city of Baker. As we mentioned, the Louisiana legislature is back in session today, going about the business of taking care of the people's business. We'll talk about a little bit more of that as we make our way through today's show. But in the first hour, still to come today, the golfers, all you duffers out there. A lot of us are getting real jealous over you guys. BREC announcing the reopening of some normalcy. Golf courses here in the capital city starting to reopen so that you can get out and get that much needed exercise. And also the Baton Rouge Area Chamber releasing recently a Safe at Work framework. It is a starting point for businesses to return to work and for the powers that be, speaking of the Louisiana legislature, some things for them to keep in mind as well. All of that is still to come in hour one of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. But first, we need to get break number one out of the way. Got to pay the bills. So glad that you have allowed us into your homes today on this absolutely gorgeous Monday. If you've not gotten out and about, go ahead, get out after the show is over. Get that second cup of coffee, second wind, and then you'll be ready to go. We'll bang out our first commercial break of hour one. We'll get her done, and we'll come back with more of the Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, right where you've got it, here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Welcome back for segment 2 of hour 1 of today's Monday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. Ever so slowly, but more important, surely, things are starting to get back just a little bit to normal. And I got to admit, as an avid bowler, I am so very jealous of all you golfers out there, because here in the capital city, our nationally acclaimed Baton Rouge Recreation and Parks Commission, affectionately known as BREC, has started now the process of reopening some of the golf courses here so that you can get out and enjoy that fresh air, the absolutely awesome weather that we've had lately, and of course, ease your mind, working on your game, forgetting about COVID-19. Cheryl Michellete is the Director of Communications for our nationally acclaimed BREC and joins us for segment 2. Cheryl, good morning, and how are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing well, and I hope you are too.
Thank you so kindly. So which golf courses have you reopened at this point, Cheryl?
We have reopened all of them, all 6. On Thursday, we opened 3, just so that we could make sure everything was running smooth with some new procedures.
Right.
And then tweak whatever we needed to for Friday when the other 3 reopened.
Speaking of those rules, I know obviously there are some new rules in place for those that want to enjoy these fabulous courses. Give us an overview of those, if you will, Cheryl.
So what we've done is try to limit the contact that customers have with staff. And so we've created a place where you can prepay before you come out, and you just show your phone and then you can get started. We do have golf carts available, and they are being sanitized after every use, but we're only allowing 1 rider per cart. Encouraging walking because it is healthier for you, but either way, that's okay. We have some more push carts available in case you do walk and want to be able to push those golf carts, golf clubs. And we'll have graphics on the ground that you'll see like at a grocery store that tell you where to stand in line so you're keeping a good distance. And we've lengthened the time between tee times so there are less people on the course at one time.
So what facilities right now remain closed, and how soon are you anticipating making a decision on when the remaining facilities will reopen, Cheryl?
So right now, all of the indoor facilities, like our recreation centers, our fitness centers, special use facilities like the Swamp and the theater and Magnolia Mount are closed. The zoo is closed because it gets such a high visitation throughout the region that when you're only allowed to have 10 people, you know, in one closed space, it didn't seem like that would be a good idea. Plus, people are coming in from other states and parishes.
Right.
And playgrounds, outdoor fitness equipment, pavilions are all roped off right now. We are working on a phased reopening plan. Our superintendent is on the governor's task force, and he's doing calls not only with task force members, but National Recreation and Park Association directors around the country. And our recreation folks are in contact with the American Camp Association. We're looking at every part of our system. And what can we open when the governor loosens the stay-at-home order on the 15th? What may have to wait until that phase 2 of the governor's order, and then what may have to wait till phase 3. Well, I'm hopeful that we'll have just about everything open as, you know, maybe as early as that phase 1, but there will be limited capacity. There'll be some modifications. For example, you may have less people on a playground at a time or on a splash pad at a time. You know, have those graphics on the ground that tell you wherever you stay in line. The zoo, when it opens, will probably not have the children's zoo, the playground, or the aquarium open. All of those things, we're just looking at our entire system and figuring out how we can reopen. We want people using our system, but how we keep them safe.
For the individuals out there watching right now that are not comfortable just yet going back out of doors and around other individuals, BREC still offers some marvelous virtual activities that we can enjoy, correct?
Yes, we continue to create videos and put them on a Refresh Your Mind page. So if you go to brec.org/refresh, you'll see a new video, at least one each day. We're taking you through our beautiful conservation areas. One I just watched is showing you how our mountain bike trails work and kind of guiding you through those. We've given behind-the-scenes videos with the animals as the zookeepers are taking care of them, or folks at the swamp. It's just been a lot of fun, and I'm learning a lot about our system. And then we've also created activity sheets that you can do some activities at home or in your backyard. And we have somebody on staff translating those into Spanish. We've made our coloring book available to download and print out so kids have, you know, art activities that they can enjoy. We're just trying to figure out anything we can do to give you some entertainment and feel like you're experiencing BREC right from your home.
It is, of course, that time of year, Cheryl, where BREC may be more popular than any other time of the year as we start looking forward to summer camps. How is that all looking now as far as registration, and with all the uncertainty about the pandemic and what schools are going to look like as far as their calendar years are concerned, how hopeful are you that we will be able to go through the summer camp season with some semblance of normalcy?
Well, you are absolutely right. Our registration was scheduled for March 21st, and usually our website is so busy at that time that some camps actually fill up within 5 minutes of registration.
Wow.
And we had to postpone that. So we are, again, working with the National Recreation and Park Association and American Camp Association to figure out how we give summer experiences for kids that are safe. I know there'll be some virtual offerings, but the tricky part is figuring out that in person. How many kids can we have? How many staff members do you need per child?
Right.
You need to have indoor activities for bad weather days, but how many people will be allowed to be in those indoor spaces?
Right.
Those are all the things that we're working on right now, and I'm hopeful that we will have a plan to announce to the public this week or next week at the latest.
And when these facilities do reopen and we start resuming some normalcy, as cooped up as people have been, they're anxious, they want to get out and enjoy these things, but we still need them to be responsible, right?
Yes. And the good news is you can get out now into the parks. Our trails are getting more use now than ever. The green spaces are getting more use now than ever because outdoors is a safe place.
Right.
But we are seeing things where, one of the videos I was watching, people are taking ATVs through our trails and destroying some of them, where we're going to have to get back out and recreate a trail that's been all messed up and muddy.
Right.
We're going to need people to wear their masks, to practice good hygiene, to practice physical distancing. Just be considerate of the people around you.
Right.
But we want you out getting healthy activity, being healthy, getting fresh air, experiencing BREC, because I think as people realize that we are part of the solution to the underlying health conditions that have made this illness worse for some people,
right.
I hope they realize that we are there for them to get in shape, get healthy, like you said, ease the stress of this situation, but treat the parks and each other with respect.
Finally, Cheryl, how is the BREC family holding up through all of this? Are you fully staffed, or are you like so many other organizations, you've been impacted by COVID-19?
We've had a few people come down with the illness. Luckily, it's been only 5, and it was relatively minor, and they're recovering well. Also had some employees that have had family members come down with the illness and taking care of them. For the most part, we've been able to keep everybody working because we continue to maintain the parks, keep them clean and mowed and safe. We've been, offering all of the virtual activities and getting ready for when we do go back to normal. So happy to say that we've been able to keep people working for the community, which I would have hated to have told you otherwise.
Right. Well, Cheryl, thank you so much as always for the time, and thank you for BREC and what they are doing. It's not just parks and recreation. It is now, as you mentioned, an opportunity for us to be the healthy Louisiana that we deserve to be. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
Thank you.
All right, we have our bottom of the hour break that we need to bang out real quick. Once we get that done, Adam Knapp, President and CEO of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, will join us to talk about the Safe at Work framework, a proposal put out, endorsed by over 50 organizations here in the state of Louisiana, hoping that we will be able to implement this and get our economy rolling once again. That's up next after our bottom of the hour break on the Clarence Bugg Show right here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Rouge Jr., and I am a general dentist at Rouge Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to Hour 1 of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. A very special good morning to all of our viewers down in the Crescent City, in Lafayette, all across the I-10 corridor here, and in other places in South Louisiana as well. I mentioned before we headed to the last commercial break that the Baton Rouge Area Chamber put together a Herculean effort and put out the Safe at Work framework. It is an opportunity for businesses to look at the reopening process and do it in a safe fashion while all the while maximizing our return to generating revenue. Adam Knapp is the president and CEO of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber and joins us to talk for this segment about the Safe at Work framework. Adam, good morning, and how are you, sir?
Good morning, Clarence. Thanks for having me on.
You're quite welcome. So what was the impetus, Adam, for the Safe at Work framework?
Well, it was pretty organic. We were having phone calls with a lot of our businesses and small 5 to 6 person roundtable conversations with executives to understand what was happening at their work site. We did that with a mind not toward the immediate crisis of the day, but what does their slow and steady expansion and reopening look like? And we didn't start out with the thought that we needed to write a document, but it definitely came out of those calls that many of them were sharing their own business experiences, sharing that they have very specific challenges that they have in their near term and their immediate term or intermediate term to their being fully open again. And that they wanted to have more time to explore those. And so we did a series of them. And after hearing from more than 20 folks in those small group calls, we realized that there was a consistent thread of information that folks were asking about or making points about. And at the same time, they were not seeing that they were getting that information anywhere about what a kind of a framework for reopening might look like. What are the challenges that employers are going to face or are facing? And then what are some of the ways that you could imagine a phased reopening in a safe way? Every one of those calls included a CEO of a hospital. We wanted to hear from executives from the healthcare community. A lot of the concern that came up from employers was to make sure that in reopening they don't make this more difficult for the healthcare community. And so we would start with the perspective of the healthcare community on reopening as well as on healthcare and businesses. So that was our way that we got into this, Clarence. And out of that, the more that we kept widening the circle to let more folks give us feedback, the more the document took on kind of the framework language that came out of it. And it went through probably 10 different revisions with input from healthcare providers, from statewide business associations, sector associations like the Restaurant Association, Retail Association, all weighing in with different things that they're thinking about how reopening, what that means to their different sectors or communities.
Now,
that's where we out with the document. It's really, I think, a useful read for a lot of folks about the issues that are still prevalent, even though it's 2 or 3 weeks old. Those issues remain.
Now, let's be clear, Adam, this was not intended to be a be-all, end-all. It is actually just a good starting point, correct?
1,000%. Yeah, we even say in the beginning of the document, this is not meant to be a perfected recommendation for how reopening should go, or what are all the issues exactly as they're going to play out. It's meant to start businesses asking questions about their reopening. And as the governor's Resilient Louisiana Task Force was coming together, we wanted to be able to offer some initial suggestions of things they should be focusing on. And we've seen it have that effect. We've had now 50 different business associations sign on to endorse the framework around the state, and it's giving communities as well as policymakers some fodder to think about. I think that's the easiest way to describe it. It's just a way for folks to be thinking about it from a business or community perspective.
Obviously, Adam, when you are dealing with something as wide-ranging as this, you are going to hit some nails on the head. Sometimes you kind of hit them off to the side a little bit. What's been the reception so far that you've been able to glean since unveiling the Safe at Work framework?
Well, we did this before the governor made his decision about May 1st, and we thought this would be a way to begin to focus on reopening different aspects of the economy. And so I think the first thing I'd say is we highlighted the challenge for what's been referred to as these gray area businesses. There were a number of businesses that were allowed to be open, but there was not a whole lot of clarity statewide on the fact that they could be open.
Right.
And the state really did spend as much energy emphasizing how they should be open. And so I think the immediate benefit I think we've seen is that has received a ton of coverage now in the last 2 weeks. The governor talked about it in his Monday press conference last week about the reopening, referred to those businesses that are allowed to be open explicitly, and pointed out that some other states never closed those, for example, small retail businesses were by and large not forced to be closed unless they were specifically named, like fitness centers and casinos were. But many other kinds of businesses were not ever directed to be closed, and we had been pointing out for a while. So I think we've seen that aspect of the document has come to fruition, which is let's encourage those businesses to be open. Let's encourage consumers to do business safely. The next phase, I think, that we're looking for is, guidance on what does safe opening mean. It's called Safe at Work for a reason, and it's pointing to the need for a new normal, and that lots of employers are still trying to sort out what that means for their retail store, for their warehouse, or for their commercial office space, and they want to do right by their employees, make sure they're providing for the safety of their employees. So a third of the document is really about that question, and then we're now working behind the scenes to try to encourage that there be a guiding framework for safe reopening policy that summarizes the CDC, summarizes the work of OSHA, a lot of other national groups that are advising businesses on what safe business practices look like. So we're hoping to see the state do some more work to make that easy to understand.
The Louisiana legislature, as you well know, reconvening today to continue the session that was suspended because of the pandemic. Understanding the hit to our state's coffers as far as tax revenue is concerned, realistically, Adam, how much help should business expect from the state, and where would you like to see them start in that regard?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think the state has taken an initial step for businesses that's really important. Before the session started, LED put together a business loan program for underwriting loans at banks. They've got a website up on there that you can go to if you want to try to get access to additional capital, up to $100,000, really focused on small businesses needing more capital. So I think that was an important and high quality step that the state took. The governor has said that there's a possibility they can expand that if they need to offer more business loan assistance. I think that's the first thing that was most important to get done. I think that with a budget, right, that there's limited additional, programming that we should expect that the state can do, especially compared to the unprecedented amount of money that the federal government is pushing into our economies. And I think our emphasis is still to encourage businesses to look toward the federal programs right now for their business assistance and business relief, and many of those programs are still underway, that they're out there and available, and those can be coupled with the state loan assistance as well. So I think we point first to what the feds are doing and what the state has already done. What we are looking for in this session that a lot of employers are really asking about, as kind of an immediate concern, is getting people back to work puts them at some potential legal liability that they're wanting to ask the state to help give them some cover, some safe harbor that as they bring people back to work, that they're able to do so safely, and if they do so safely, they have some liability protection for what happens in their workforce.
If you look around this great country of ours, obviously the impact can be felt in every single state in the union. Have you been able to ascertain, to whatever degree at this point, Adam, how Louisiana's businesses are faring versus other states impacted by COVID-19?
We've taken a look at that, Clarence. It's really sort of hard to pin down because you can't get business closure data, right? So what you can get right now is unemployment information, and that's really not as accurate a picture of their long-term sustainability. It just shows that they've had to reduce workforces to try to conserve cash, as businesses have been severely impacted for their revenue right now. And it's hard to know what is real yet until there is a sense of the recovery, the kind of the reopening of the economy, to know how many aren't going to be able to come out on the back end of this, really. So what we've been doing instead, rather than trying to gauge this nationally, compared to Louisiana or compared to the metro area of Baton Rouge, what we're trying to do is give business owners information about what's happening today. And we put together something called the Indicator Dashboard. Really encourage folks that want to understand the weekly activity of our economy. We've been updating this every Tuesday. It'll come out tomorrow. We're looking at information on unemployment claims in our 9-parish area. We're looking at the purchasing of automotive fuel, commercial and retail fuel, at traffic data, at ridership of our capital area transit system is going to be one that we're trying to add. All of that, when you combine it together, gives you a picture of what happened last week, the week before that, compared to this week. And you start to get a picture of the state of the economy through the lens of these different indicators. And that's what we're hoping to be able to do, is give people the ability to understand as much as possible what's happening in my community from an economic perspective, and what does that mean for me as I try to reopen my business. If you were driving around this weekend, you saw probably a lot more cars out on the road. You saw a lot more folks in stores. So people are definitely out and about. And then, as I said, what does that look like to do so safely? But we're hoping that data gives people a picture of what's happening outside.
How can we find out more about the Baton Rouge Area Chamber and the absolutely awesome work that your organization is doing, Adam?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying that. The recovery page that we set up is BRAC.org. If you go to BRAC.org, you'll see a green bar for our recovery page, which is BRAC.org/recovery. We've been putting up billboards and advertising that on social media. really trying to drive awareness as much as possible out to the general community to take advantage of it. You do not have to be a member of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber to take advantage of the information we're providing. This is part of our mission to help the job market in Baton Rouge to make sure that we get this information out to as broadly as possible. I'll also point out that every week we're doing 2 or 3 webinars that businesses can take advantage of. The one that is going to come up tomorrow at 11 o'clock is going to be of interest to a lot of people. If you got one of these PPP loans, these Paycheck Protection Program loans, many people are asking, what does the accounting look like to make sure that I can get my loan forgiven? And that's a huge question, because that's the main reason everybody went out and got it. So we've got an accounting firm that's going to do a little tutorial on the accounting for your PPP loan, which sounds nerdy, but it's hugely impactful. All of that is BREC.org/recovery, and hopefully folks can take advantage of it.
Adam Knapp, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. Adam, thank you so much for the time, and stay safe, my friend.
Stay in touch. Thanks, Clarence.
You will do. All right, final break of hour number 1. We get her done, and we'll come back and wrap up today's first hour here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to hour 1 of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Thank you there, Marty. I didn't know which camera you were pointing to there. I understand Paisha is on line 2. Is that correct, Paisha?
Hi.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. How are you this morning?
I'm fine.
Fantastic. How can we help you?
Yes, I didn't get my stimulus. It didn't come in the mail.
Mm-hmm. When did you send that off?
Send what off?
Are you talking about your stimulus check from the IRS?
Yes.
Okay, you've not received it yet.
No.
Did you file taxes last year or the year before?
No, I get Social Security.
Okay. Go to irs.gov. Do you have internet access?
Yes.
Go to irs.gov. They have there a stimulus check tracker. It allows you to see the status of your check, if it's been sent out just yet, and when you can expect it. So go to irs.gov and look for the stimulus check tracker, and you should be able to track down exactly where it is.
Okay, thank you so much.
You are quite welcome. It is something that a lot of folk are concerned about, because obviously times like these, every dollar counts, and it is something that many folks are getting pretty anxious about right now if they've not yet received their stimulus checks. Speaking of money, and particularly your money, the Louisiana legislature officially gets back in session today. And boy, if ever there was a time not to be a legislator, this is it. If you think back, you know that we were anticipating for the state's budget a deficit of somewhere starting in the neighborhood of $200 million. This was all prior to the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you remove from the state's budget all the tax revenue that would have been generated during this shutdown, you start to get an idea of what legislators are going to be up against. You add to that the revenue shortfall, add to that the partisan politics that always rears its ugly head for a Louisiana legislative session, and throw in the uncertainty of what's still to come, then you start to get an idea of what the guys and girls at the Capitol are going to find themselves dealing with. As a matter of fact, the contentiousness has started already. There are some lawmakers who are saying we have no business being at the Capitol. We've not flattened the curve enough yet for us to be back. And of course, there are those that are saying we have to come back because the people's business is too important. There are 143 lawmakers, their staffs, lobbyists, and of course, you and I, the public, that will be in attendance. And as one of the hot spots for the country, a lot of folks are still wondering if, in fact, it is too soon for legislators to return. Here in our state, as we speak, close to 30,000 people testing positive for the coronavirus. 1,969 people have died, according to State Health Department data, I should have said, that was released yesterday. The true number of infections is actually thought to be much higher than that. Leaders of the Senate and the House Democratic caucuses and the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus all saying that lawmakers should not return at least until the middle of the month. But the governor saying that the legislature is in fact an essential business, is leaving it to the members of the legislature to set their own timeline. Personally, I think you have to come back. The state of Louisiana's economy is far too important to shirk that duty. And I think we all at this juncture have arrived at a point where we understand, one, the seriousness of the situation, but two, how to deal with the situation. The committee rooms, the chambers themselves, we all know now how to observe correct social distancing. We all understand now the importance of sanitizing, disinfecting, the whole nine. And of course, we all understand the importance of hand washing and all the other little idiosyncratic things that come along with battling a pandemic of this nature. It is not something that you relish, particularly if you are the likes of State Representative Ted James, who was severely stricken with the coronavirus. But at the end of the day, it is something that you signed up for. And doing the business of the people's business is far too important to allow to just fall by the wayside. So if you are a person of the community of faith, be so kind as to keep our legislators in your thoughts and your prayers as they go about the business of taking care of the people's business. You know, it is a foregone conclusion that when we entertain things of this sort, this COVID-19 pandemic, you are going to see the best that humanity has to offer, and unfortunately, you are also going to be privy to the worst that humanity has to offer. And in that vein, we've tried to keep you abreast of all the scams that are taking place right now as people find themselves in vulnerable situations. Well, the Better Business Bureau of South Louisiana has brought to our attention something else that you need to be aware of. It's called an accidental payment on a money transfer app. Could well be a scam. The Better Business Bureau says that they've been contacted about a scam going around where in some cases you will get a phone call saying that an accidental payment has been made to you through a money transfer. The app user will receive payments that can be several $100s allegedly from an unknown account. That user is then contacted by the account holder who claims they sent the money, quote, by accident, and requesting that the money be returned. In some cases, the BBB says the initial payment came from a stolen credit card. So when the money is returned, the scammer replaces the information from the stolen card with their legitimate account information. You know, if you're like me, and you see these individuals taking advantage of other people, particularly during times like these, you wish sometime that our legislators, in their infinite wisdom, would institute particularly severe penalties for individuals that are looking to scam people in times like these. It is something that would get my thumbs up vote in a heartbeat, because sadly, there are people out there who are spending every waking moment of their time trying to figure out ways, dishonest ways, illegal ways to separate you from your money. And I know, just like the poor will always be among us, we will always have idiots among us, and we will always have unscrupulous individuals out there among us. But in times like these, it wouldn't bother me one bit if we had extra penalties for individuals that are out there spending all their time, energy, and effort trying to hurt someone instead of trying to help someone. Don't ask if it would be constitutional or not. I have no idea. I haven't thought the process all the way through in that regard. But we have things like hate crimes, so why not things like stupid penalties? You know, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. It's, I guess, just part of human nature. While you and I are putting our efforts on trying to stay safe, trying to help reopen the economy, trying to do the right thing, there are individuals out there that see nothing more than an opportunity to get over on someone else. It is a part of the human psyche, I guess, and something that unfortunately we're going to have to deal with. The good news, I guess, if there is a silver lining in all of this ain't the first rodeo for South Louisiana, particularly when you think back to the 2016 flood, the price gouging, the contractor fraud, all of that. Those antennae should still be in working order. I guess it should suffice to say, the old adage, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. In this case, it may not sound too good. It may just simply sound suspect. If you've been around on this planet long enough, you know that when that little voice in the back of your head starts to speak to you, it's usually a pretty good practice to listen. If it sounds too good to be true, or in this case, if it sounds like an accident, it may not be. Protect yourselves, and more important, protect your money. Top of the hour break is coming up, and we will move ahead to segment hour 2 of the Clarence Bugg Show. Going to tip our hats to start the next hour. All of you that came out to help the families of two very special BRPD officers. That did not go unnoticed. Sergeant Don Coppolla with the BRPD will join us after the top of the hour break here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Welcome back as we start hour 2 of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Hopefully you had an absolutely marvelous weekend. If not, as we like to say on every Monday, right about this time of the day, good Lord willing, you will still be here when the next one rolls our way and you can try it all over again. Speaking of the weekend, this past Friday was an opportunity for a lot of folks in the capital region to show some love to some absolutely amazing individuals. As you all are well aware, a recent incident here in the city of Baton Rouge left a BRPD officer deceased and another in critical condition. To help those families, there was a benefit dinner held Friday at the Baton Rouge Police Department headquarters, and the outpouring of love and support from folks in the capital region was nothing short of what we've come to expect. Sergeant Don Coppolla with the BRPD's Public Information Office joins us to start hour 2 of today's show. Don, how are you today, my friend?
Hey, buddy. How are you, Clarence? Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome. So how much was raised and what was that atmosphere like?
I tell you, as you mentioned, the outpour from the public last Friday with these dinners, we sold out within the first hour of this beginning. So we're had 2,000 dinners prepared, somewhere around there, and we sold out within the first hour.
Wow.
People were still coming in line. People waited in line up to an hour to find out the dinners were sold out, but still made a donation.
Wow. So for those that were not able to get there Friday for whatever reason, can they still donate? Is it too late? And if not, how do they go about doing that, Don?
No, it's not too late, and they can go to Back the Blue BR Facebook page. Again, that's Back the Blue BR, and make a donation through them, or contact myself or Sergeant McNeely with BRPD, and we can direct them to that as well.
How bittersweet was that whole event, Sergeant Coppolla? I know you guys and girls always enjoy the support of the community, but this, for the rest of the city as well, obviously, as the BRPD, had to be kind of bittersweet and bring back some pretty tough memories.
But it does, and it was bittersweet, and you know, we can't thank the community enough for what they do and standing by us, especially in these times of the incident last Sunday, and then of course the 2016. It's painful, and it does bring back memories.
How is the BRPD family holding up right now?
Well, as a whole, Clarence, I mean, BRPD is hurting. I mean, again, we've lost another brother. We have another one injured. He is making good progress, though, as far as the prognosis is staying positive. But again, like you said, it brings back memories and bad memories, and you know, and you ask yourself, I mean, when is this going to end? Enough is enough.
What about the coronavirus effect, the cases? Is the BRPD at full strength as we speak, Don?
But yes, I mean, we are, besides what we're dealing with now. And you mentioned corona, and who would have thought that we would be going through what we're going through as far as an injured officer, the loss of an officer during this time. And
right.
It's just, you ask yourself, when is this going to stop? But as anything, I mean, we're going to make it through this with the help of the community and the support. And we ask that they keep us in their thoughts and prayers as well to get through this.
As you talk about coronavirus, obviously we want to keep all the great men and women in law enforcement safe. If we need to call BRPD, or what can we expect when they show up? Is it still the normal protocol, or have you had to make some changes in responding to calls, Don?
Well, and there have been some changes made. So, for instance, if you contact BRPD at 389-2000, if it's a non-emergency type complaint, you will be transferred to our telephone reporting unit. So that call can be answered over the phone. We do have capabilities now where you can, it's almost like you're FaceTiming with an officer. So you're actually seeing an officer, but that report is being taken over the phone. And if it is an emergency where an officer needs to go out, then of course we're going to use the universal precautions, not only to protect ourselves, but that complainant or complainants that we're dealing with as well.
Now, let's be clear, because we don't want any misperceptions here. The BRPD is still operating. They are still concerned about crime and will not hesitate, if need be, to deal with criminals accordingly, correct?
Correct, 100%. At no point in time are we slacking on the service of our community at all.
And as always, we welcome all support from the community in helping law enforcement solve crime.
100%. As far as Crime Stoppers, we encourage people to call or submit any tips, and those tips are followed up on by investigators as well.
Once again, if you would, Sergeant Coppolla, give us the information on how to get in touch with individuals there, and if there is someone that wants to sponsor an event to benefit the two officers' families, how do they go about doing that, Don?
Again, I would refer people to Back the Blue of BR, Back the Blue of BR. Or, again, they can contact myself or Sergeant McNeely in the Public Information Office, and we can direct them to that appropriate person.
Fantastic. Sergeant Don Coppolla in the Public Affairs Office of the Baton Rouge Police Department, thank you so much for the time. And be sure to give a big attaboy to all the guys and girls on the force that you see today from the Clarence Bug Show family. We'd appreciate it.
Sure will, Clarence, and thank you again for everything.
You're quite welcome, my friend. It, man, brought back some real unpleasant memories Friday. And it is a wound probably that will never heal. It is something that law enforcement thinks about constantly. You and I have the luxury of only entertaining it when it happens. And yet and still, every single day, the guys and girls in blue, they get up, they strap it on, and they do what they do on our behalf. Back the blue of BR. For those of you that would still like to make donations to benefit the families of these two officers. In times like these, particularly with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, there are things that they are having to entertain right now that you and I, thank you God, aren't even able to wrap our minds around. It is a different day right now, but I feel real safe and sane. The love for law enforcement in the Baton Rouge and the Capital Region remains the same. And we are there for them anytime they need us, just like they are there for us anytime we need them. It is something that you and I on a daily basis never have to deal with. And it may be arguably the most thankless job on the planet. Nobody wants to see the police until they need them. And I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I've never heard of an instance where even if you are a criminal and you need help, when you call the BRPD, they show up, and they show up big time. It's one of those jobs that really takes a certain special person and an amount of intestinal fortitude that many of us, quite frankly, just don't possess. But if you think about where our communities would be without them, then it kind of puts in perspective just how special and just how important those guys and girls are. Back the blue of BR. Check them out on Facebook. Make that donation and send those well wishes to the families of the officers so adversely affected by that shooting Sunday a week ago. It is ever so slowly a return to normalcy. And I don't know if there will be a concrete date on when we can all say, okay, it's official, we're now back to normal. With so many different cities and municipalities suffering in so many different ways, it is not going to be something that will be universal. What will happen in Baton Rouge may not be ready to happen in New Orleans, which may not be ready to happen in Lafayette, which may not be ready to happen in Monroe. You get the idea. Every municipality has its own effects and its own set of challenges. But together, I firmly believe we will make it through this thing, and before you know it, we will have learned some lessons, hopefully, that will serve us all very well. Still to come in today's show, speaking of some semblance of normalcy, the NFL announcing we're not changing a thing. We're going to keep the schedule for the start of the season, for the Super Bowl, and the whole nine. What's that going to mean for athletics that so many of us are jonesing about right now, right? Good news, however, all of us NASCAR fans, if you don't know by now, May 17th, Darlington. The boys will return to the track. Don't have any information just yet on whether or not it will be fanless or with fans at a reduced capacity. At this point, I really don't care. I'm just ready for some rubbing and some racing. On the college level, we'll spend some time with the athletic director at Southern University, Roman Banks, talking about the challenges that HBCUs and smaller colleges and universities are now facing because of the COVID-19 pandemic. All of that is still to come in hour one and a tad bit more as well. But we need to bang out our first commercial break of this hour. We'll do so, and we'll come back with more of hour two of the Clarence Buggs Show right here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Rouge Jr., and I am a general dentist at Rouge Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
It says here that Eric Gaylord is back. Where has he been?
Well, I understand that he was in Georgia helping President Jimmy Carter build houses for the homeless.
Mr. President, can you put down the peanuts? A little help here?
Well, I was told that he was in Tibet studying to become a kung fu master.
That's right, the Clarence Buggs Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to hour two of the Monday edition of the Clarence Buggs Show. If you've not already done so, let me take this opportunity to encourage you to go ahead and download the Pelican Broadcasting app. It is a way for you to take us with you anywhere, anytime, and of course you can tune in online as well at pelicansportstv.com. pelicansportstv.com. It is a way for you to get your daily dose of Louisiana talk with Louisiana folks without having to jump through a whole lot of hoops. The NFL announcing recently that the league is planning to carry out the 2020 season as scheduled. The full 17-week schedule is set to be released sometime this week. According to league spokesperson Brian McCarthy, the NFL plans to open the season on September 10th and play the Super Bowl on February 7th. The league also went on to say that it has visions of fans being present during the games. Now, you can read a whole lot into that. We have, quote, visions of fans being present during the games. I mean, that could be a third of the stadium. It could be a fourth of the stadium. It could be 17 people in the stands. I mean, fans in the stands is pretty darn broad. So I guess that's going to be one of those things where only time will tell as far as to what extent fans will be able to take part. Officials with the NFL say they've been evaluating the best course of action to take should the pandemic carry over, God forbid, into the fall. Well, one of the options on the table that they looked at reportedly was having the games played in centralized locations, Leagues like the NBA, Major League Baseball, have all discussed that option, but the NFL says it does not plan at this time to do so. Something else that may come out of all of this, with the uncertainty about the college football season, it is rumored that the NFL has in fact and is in fact looking at possibly playing some games on Saturday. All of that obviously is conjecture at this point, and we'll just have to wait and see in that regard. Regardless, it is something that probably, just off the top of my head, would signal to Americans normalcy more than anything other than, I don't know, college football. Football is one of the things that allows us in South Louisiana to make it through the hot, muggy summer, just anticipating, okay, if I could just get through August, September's going to roll around, and football will be here. Football means at some point there's going to be cooler weather. So, you know, you get up every day dealing with the heat and humidity, just knowing on the back end, football is going to make it all right. It's something that many of us are longing for, but quite frankly, if you're like me, you keep in the back of your mind that nagging reality that it may end up being reduced to whatever degree. It's not something that COVID-19, that you can flip a switch and just change everything on. It ain't that kind of party, y'all. It just does not work that way. Hopefully, for your community, and not to mention for your sanity, it will be something that returns full bore. Hopefully, it is something that we will see in every nook and cranny of every little town and the major towns in South Louisiana. But you got to be realistic about these things. To think that high school football will return to every city in Louisiana, every city in America, is just not being realistic about it. Thinking every college will be able to return. Listen, I love Southern University football as much as the next person. Having marched in the human jukebox, I know that there is nothing that equates to the band turning that corner, getting ready to enter Mumford Stadium, and the level of excitement that it generates. I understand full well when you're talking the human jukebox matching up with the sonic boom of the South. There's nothing on the planet that, you know, can compare to that. I get it. But at the end of the day, safety, number one, remains the foremost concern. Entertainment is one thing. Distractions, that's another thing. But at the end of the day, we still want everyone safe. And quite frankly, there are two jobs that I would not particularly gravitate toward accepting right now. One would be a member of the Louisiana legislature dealing with the revenue shortfall that they're going to have to deal with, and two, being an athletic director at a college or university. Fortunately, Roman Banks, the AD for Southern University, has that load dropped on his very broad shoulders, and he will join us a little later on in this hour, so we'll get to pick his brain on what it's been like. As a member of the media, and with some 4 decades of broadcasting under the belt, dealing with things like this becomes second nature. Having sat in the chair during Katrina, Ike, Gustav, the flood of 2016, 9/11, the whole nine, we kind of build up an experience level that enables us to deal pretty much with anything that comes down the pike. This, on the other hand, is completely different. There was just a tad taste of having to deal with something of this nature, the complete suspension of athletics during 9/11. But I would venture a guess that a lot of the individuals that had to deal with that suspension and the restarting of college athletics, many of them now are in different pursuits and are pursuing different avenues as a way of life. Roman Banks, I know for a fact, was not wearing the athletic director hat during 9/11. So like so many of us, he is dealing with the situation that's unprecedented. I've not had the opportunity just yet to go back through the record books, but you know how you get gut feelings about certain things? I would imagine, short of World War II, and of course the blip of 9/11, the suspension, not the event, I can't think of another time where we've had to entertain suspending college athletics to this degree. And you talk about life throwing you the irony of ironies. No one in the height of this pandemic relished the idea of getting together with 50, 75, 100,000 of their closest friends in close proximity, yelling, screaming, high-fiving, hugging, the whole nine. None of us relished that idea. But on the other side of that very same coin, right now, the overwhelming majority of Americans need that more than anything else on the planet for their emotional and psychological well-being. I mean, I get it. If you're in a place where there are 50,000 folks, then you start to feel, okay, we've beaten this thing. We've gotten to the point now where we can gather together again and do what we love to do, particularly as we head into the fall. I get that. I understand that. But even if it is in some diminished capacity, meaning we're not able to sell as many tickets as we normally would, we're not able to let in as many people as we normally would, just the opportunity to take part in rooting for our favorite team, just the opportunity to take part in witnessing some of the pageantry that accompanies college and professional athletics. It does wonders for the human psyche. And laughing with our director, Alan Traylor, Alan said, man, if it takes selling bio suits in the concession stand, I'll buy one. I need some football just that bad. And he's not alone in that regard. It is something that's going to be different. The game itself, I'm sure, will still be football, but the experience of it all is going to be different. So put that in your mind now and start making preparations, because again, the new norm is not normal, but it's going to be with us for a little while. That is just the nature of the beast. And if I could, wave the magic wand and become the grand poobah in charge of making all things wrong right in just a matter of minutes, I would do it. But we don't have that luxury, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. So start making preparations in your mind. Again, for those of us that are NASCAR fans, May 17th, the world returns. Darlington, first race. And it's going to be interesting to see if there's an asterisk in the race for the NASCAR driver that gets the first Darlington stripe post-COVID-19. It's a different day, y'all, but rest assured, we will get through this. This is not our first rodeo. It is not the first time we found ourselves in a situation that is unusual. But the fact of the matter still remains. We as Louisianians, we as Americans, we do our best work when our backs are against the wall. Hang in there. In the words of the late, great Isaac Patty Greggs, band director of the illustrious Human Jukebox, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. We need to get this break out of the way. After that, a guy that may have thought twice about taking his job if he would have had a crystal ball and saw down the road he'd be dealing with COVID-19 and a pandemic situation. Roman Banks, athletic director for Southern University, will join us to talk a little athletics and COVID-19 when we come back for Hour 2 of the Clarence Bugg Show right here on the Pelican. Stay close.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Well, thank you, Marty. Here we go. Marty's like, here we go. On set with me right now is Roman Banks, the athletic director for Southern University. Roman, first of all, thank you for the time. And how are you today, my friend?
Doing well. Get that fish.
There you go. There you go. So how does it feel from your end to be a part of something that's never happened in this country before?
It's a little different.
A little different?
I think that you better in this situation. You better prepare for the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in reason. I believe that my higher being put us in different situations.
Amen.
And so if I knew this was coming, I wouldn't have been doing it. But because I didn't, then I'm the chosen one to deal with it.
Right. So what was the first thing that went through your mind when the decision was made, all right, we're closing the campus, we're shutting everything down? What was the first thought that popped into your mind?
Well, I'm always the understanding person of safety first.
Right.
And so with that decision being made, I understood it.
Right.
But also, for the student athletes, perhaps that didn't understand what was going on and trying to explain it to them, and
right.
And they feel like they're invincible at their age.
Well,
and
yeah,
so,
of course.
So spring season's gone, and so I really felt bad for our student athletes and our coaches that have sold all season long not to get a chance to participate.
As a quote smaller school in a smaller conference, how much has this whole COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated the problems that HBCUs are already facing?
It knocked us to our knees. I mean, there's a possibility that some schools won't be able to return.
Wow.
Doing the reflection of the budget.
Right.
I mean, and that's a real live issue, the budget and students' health.
Right.
And so, give you an example of what I'm talking about is just even at Southern alone, our budget is based on some student fees and some other things, but basically fall, summer, spring are the term budget terms. And so we went online. We were forced to go online, and everyone was forced to go online. But the fee structure changed for summer school. And so those dollars that we'll be getting as it relates to fees from students, we won't be able to get it. That has put us already behind, knowing the shortcomings for the fall.
Right.
And so we're struggling, we maxing and trying to maximize what we got, trying to come in with a balanced budget that almost seems impossible because we were already under the radar.
Right.
And so it complicates things even more. And if you don't go back to school in the fall, and it's voted on by our board not to get student fees, and it's just an online pay like this summer, then that's $3 million you're gonna lose right off the bat. And so how do you come back from already a struggling budget, and then deal with the decreasing problem that you have as it relates to money?
What about scholarships? How concerned are you that that money may be in jeopardy when you look around the country, the amount of money we're having to spend for this, that, and the other? Are scholarships going to remain safe? Are they untouchable, for lack of a better word?
Well, if you're going to stay a Division I membership, they're going to have to be untouchable. So there may be some decisions have to be made, or there are going to have to be some structures in place where donors, individuals step up to the table, corporations, and give money to make sure Southern is in a good place.
Right.
Because as it relates to scholarships, we're about $3.2 million in scholarships, and so our fee structure is based on state subsidy, student fees, and corporate dollars basically, and the dollars we get from the NCAA. The NCAA wasn't able to have in the basketball tournament, Division I basketball tournament. That's $1 billion for them, and so even they fund into the conference office back to the university. We got less than $500,000 that we're supposed to be getting. So that set us back right there already. And so there's a domino effect of things that happens that people are not aware of that can put us in a tough situation.
What about the student athletes themselves? How concerned is Roman Banks that some of these individuals that are not financially able to weather the storm of the COVID-19 pandemic may not end up coming back to college? How concerned are you about that?
Yeah, so the first thing that we done as athletic department, because we knew with the emails that the coaches was getting, that I was getting from the parents, is that we had to do a mobile mental health campaign. And so we hired a company to do this new decisions to go in and talk to our student athletes and our coaches, because we found out that some were having major problems, and problems just what you talked about, afraid that they won't be able to come back, people dying in their families that are close to them. And so I have learned that this goes right into the heart of the family issue. And we have coaches worrying about their tomorrow as well, and people that were close to them passing away. And so this pandemic has caused a pandemic within our community. That other things have come out and reared its head. And so we first of all got to be concerned about being mentally healthy, so we can talk to our student athletes and coach them through it. But to coach them through it, you got to be mentally healthy too. And all of us in this time have been challenged with our own issues as it relates to some of the fears that we have about this pandemic. And so you have to be strong, faithfully, trusting your leadership about social distancing and doing those things, and trying to coach these kids through it and saying that it's going to be all right. And so we are obligated to them to take some pressure off them to try to make sure that they maintain their scholarships.
Obviously, Roman, when we are dealing with something unprecedented like this, there are things that are going to happen where we've never had to think about this before. And the traditional approach to things doesn't work anymore. One of the things that comes to my mind is recruiting. How is all of this going to affect recruiting for the coaches and the young men and women that want to be recruited? Is that now shifting all to online and phone calls more so than in any other time in the past?
Oh, no question about it. I think, if this happened when I was playing, you wouldn't be able to deal with this at all as,
Right.
as an athletic body.
Right.
Because all you were doing was mailing and going to see people. Now we got technology. And that's really virtually and social media and all these things have really helped. And that's the reason why it's important that your website and communicating with student athletes, that you can showcase your department, showcase your teams, and be able to communicate with the student athlete out there has really helped. And these coaches take it to another level with the techniques that they have with their recruiting coordinators, making sure that I could touch you and don't have to be right there.
Right.
Zooming in and FaceTime is very, very, very important.
I cannot begin to imagine what the class of 2020 must be feeling like right now, having gone through the flood of 2016, the hurricanes in between, now the COVID-19 pandemic. For families right now, parents that may be watching, they've got an athletically gifted young person, but they're unsure because of all the uncertainty and so on and so forth. Best advice you can give to that young person or that parent watching right now to get their child prepared for what life may be like after the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I'm the one to say don't never give up on your dreams. But we have to change how we're dealing with reality.
Yeah.
Things are not the same. And therefore, you must, and I've been challenged to grow with the technology that's available. And you have to be flexible with how society operates today.
Right.
And so I would say that to always fight for your dream, don't give up, but find a pathway in this new environment, how to get there. And so if that means sending your film out to 10 different coaches, send all your film out.
Right.
If that means giving the chance to email the coaches, different at different universities, whatever you need to do to shop yourself around, because the coaches are still doing their parts.
Right.
You had a thing, the huddle accounts with film, watching you play, watching you work out. So these things are still available. And so you have to use all these tools, these new innovative ways that COVID has put us in, to make sure that you still had the opportunity to succeed and meet your dreams.
You talk with people regularly as the athletic director for Southern University. What are you hearing from the fan base as we get deeper and deeper into this stay-home order? Are you feeling any pressure? Are people say, man, I don't care what you got to do, but you got to get football this fall? What are you hearing from the fan base?
When I give you an example, when I told our president, Dr. Baton, I said, Doc, we probably might not start football on time, and it's a possibility that we might not even play football in the fall. Wow. And he was like, wait, say that again, AD?
No, I didn't hear what you said.
And I started, talking about the issues and the concerns. And so everyone that knows Roman Banks, he's going to err on the caution of safety, because I cannot fathom putting a student athlete in contact or in competition where is no protection.
Right.
Athletics go against all the social distancing norms.
That's true.
And so if you and I was playing right now, we'll be face to face.
Right.
And so I'm inclined, until we find a solution by medicine that protects them, we got to be very cautious how we come back. It's been different methods put out there by a lot of different people that have money to pay for it.
Right.
Southern is a little different. I can't see us playing without fans, because already our budget is decreasing, and so you're spending money not to make money.
Right.
And so I'm more advantageous to say that we play, if we're not ready to go by October, let's play football in the spring.
You look at the fact that here in Louisiana, and it's pretty much mirrored around the rest of the nation, the majority of those cases of COVID-19 and the fatalities therein affects people that look like you and I. African Americans disproportionately hit by the fatality rate in COVID-19. That's got to strike a nerve with you as a man of color and as an athletic director at a historically black college.
Yeah, and I take it a step further. You're talking about different changes that's going to take place. And so you're talking about over 70% of all season ticket holders meet those demographics, meet those causes that this virus has taken over. And so do you really want to put them in that type of situation right now with no answer to medicine? And so those are real live issues that I'm dealing with every day, because you're saying 7 out of 10 people that walk into the game has this cause that makes them more vulnerable to this virus, then there's a problem for us. But it's also a lesson for us to learn to our youth going forward, that we want to start teaching, that we want to talk about being a better, healthier person. But that's been traditionally and socioeconomically passed down.
Speaking of those young people, the ones that you've spoken with since the stay-home order went into effect, how are our young student athletes holding up and adjusting to this new reality?
Well, I will say this, is that we've been working very hard academically. They're doing a pretty good job.
Awesome.
You know, with this new online, with this transformation. But, you know, young people don't see it like us. And even at home dealing with my own kids, it seems to still have a problem, because they can't rest as well like we can just staying at home. And so you're trying to coach them through it. And we make sure that our coaches have a weekly meeting with them to keep them mentally healthy about making sure they staying away from crowds and doing different things.
Logistically, how long would it take Southern University's athletic program to get back up and running once the all clear is given, and if it is going to be like so many other things having to be done in phases? Logistically, how long do you need to be back up and running at a school the size of Southern?
You know, that's a question that still seeks the answer. It depends on how we're going to be able to be released. You know, what's going to be, has medicine said that we have some type of cure that we can move a little faster? We got to be very, very cautious. But I will say this, that this situation is going to trend us all the way to next year. We're going to need a whole cycle to get ourselves out. And so we are pacing ourselves for the long run, not the short term. But I think it's very important, and I go on record to say, and you read about it all the time, you got to be able to play some of your revenue sports, if you possibly can, and start phasing those in and face others around it.
When the average person walks up to Roman Banks these days, and says, "Are we gonna have football?" What's the answer they're gonna get?
We'll see.
Said Ray Charles to Stevie Wonder. Right?
I said, and I put that very, very, very mildly and respectfully, though. We'll see, because I think it's going to depend on leadership from the state, what our governor is telling us we need to do, how things are trending, have medicine find us some answers and some solutions. All that's got to happen first before we can even start thinking about it. I asked a person the other day, I told someone, I said, if your son was playing, your daughter was playing, would you want me to put them on the field right now? Would you want me to put them on the volleyball court right now? And they looked at me and hesitated. And so that's the decisions that I'm led by, to making sure that everyone, safety and well-being as relates to student athletes and fans, that we could take care of that first, because there's going to be a lot of changes, and we have to be prepared and physical responsible for these changes, to make sure that our student athletes are safe. The training room, That's a lot of changes got to happen in the training room. The weight room, how you going to work out? A lot of things have to happen that we're not ready for that we know needs to happen. And guess what's got to happen? Money got to be thrown at that too.
That's right. That's right. So what is it like for you as an individual dealing with something that you've got to have this health concern because you don't want to start a resurgence, you don't want to see it come back, but every day you're hearing people ask, are we going to have football? When we going to start playing again? Are we going to be able to salvage some baseball? What is that like dealing with from your perspective?
Well, I like to hear it because I want to have it too.
Right.
And I'm just as excited as they are to get ourselves ready and prepared. But in reasonable knowledge, I say all the time, like I just said, is that we're not to that point yet.
Right.
And it's kind of like the governor going through about how you open this state back up.
Right.
And so there's going to be phases that we have to go through. I mean, we don't even know as a return, are we going to be taking temperatures? You know, do you have to get something from the doctor? You know, how are we going to really face this in that we're working on every day for our student athletes? Because we don't know where they've been.
Right.
And when we leave each other, we don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And so you're talking about taking a temperature today, you need to take it tomorrow too.
True.
And so there are a lot of questions and a lot of thoughts that's out there that we need to come up with a game plan for.
Yeah. It's a known fact that HBCUs don't have the resources that the big boys have. That is simply the reality of what we're dealing with. But when all of this ends and we are able once again to have fans come and support events, now more than ever, can you say strongly enough how much Southern University, smaller schools, HBCUs need people when the all clear is given to get out of that house and come sit in that stand, buy some t-shirts and some caps and some hot dogs and support these schools?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the key. I think when we can give an all go,
right,
for us to bounce back, then we're going to have some of our better days.
Yeah.
I call it the old Southern way.
Yes, sir.
We're going to have Mumford Stadium full, the mini dome full. You know, we're going to have the baseball diamonds, you know, people hanging around there. And so we're going to need people to sew into us so we can come back much stronger and much better. Because while we're making changes, we're study increasing our spending now because there are some things that have to happen.
Right.
And so our season tickets need to go up. Our gift giving need to go up. And so we're gonna need people and corporations and business and corporate sponsors to invest in us even more to get us out of this whole cycle, because it's gonna take this season and next season to bounce back.
All right, so baseball fans, that means we don't want you on the hump. We want you in Lehigh Stadium, right? We want you in there. A.D. Banks, thank you so much, my friend, for the time. Best of luck to you and yours. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back and put a big old bow on it, and wrap up hour 2 of the Clarence Bugg Show.
Go Jags.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back as we wrap up today's Monday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Mighty, I appreciate you more than you know, my friend. Be advised that it was announced today that Governor John Bel Edwards is scaling back the daily press conferences dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic, with the Louisiana legislature being back in session starting today, May 4th, and the governor officially scaling back to only 3 updates a week, and obviously that's, you know, not set in stone. If anything happens that we need to be aware of, I am sure that the governor will do right by us in that regard. But I say all that to say, not to read more into it than what is actually there, but it's good to see that movement, for lack of a better word, towards normalcy. It had become a way of life every single day. The governor taking to the airwaves in front of the cameras to give us the latest information. With that now being scaled back to just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it tells you that things are starting to get better in that regard. It is by no means over. And it is in no way, shape, or form going to be an easy process. But together we will get through this. I have no doubt. As a matter of fact, LSU announcing this weekend that they are planning to begin a phased return to campus starting May 18th. So that's good news. It is, again, going to be done in phases. So May 18th, don't expect everybody to just run back into LSU's campus as though, you know, everything's back to normal. So many things are going to be done in phases. And, you know, it's kind of like the old adage, how do you eat that elephant? Well, one bite at a time. May 18th will be the first bite for LSU. The day before that, May 17th, boogity, boogity, boogity. The boys go back to racing on NASCAR. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We're about to take the first couple. Hopefully, we won't stub our toe and we'll continue right along. All that being said, it is time for me to go. But don't forget, tomorrow, Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher, the Exiles, same place, same time, same station. But today, I give it to you once again. You know what? You are so very right. America, we're not perfect. Oh, but doggone it, from my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize by now that he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Either way, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. Let's take care of each other. I'll see you on Wednesday. God bless.